Okay, let's look at 3D in After Effects. First, let's make a composition. Um, NTS, NTSC D1 widescreen square pixel will be fine. Mine's on 10 seconds. It doesn't matter how long it is because we're not going to animate anything. And I'm going to leave the background color sort of so I can differentiate it from black. That might be a little bit easier to see. And okay, all right. And let's bring in 3 JPEGs. Previous, I gave you guys, I think, a folder called JPEGs for exercises, maybe. I re-uploaded it to this week's video folder as well. So file, import file. And I think I'm going to bring in these 3 frog pictures. Okay, and just drag them down into our layers area. This top one's a little bit big, so I'm going to hit S for scale and scale that down. And I'm going to turn its eye off and see how big the other ones are. Okay. Everybody's about the same size. All right, now, for something to be 3D, the first thing you have to do is turn on the little icon in the 3D column. It looks like a little box there. So turn that on for each picture. All right, so now there are 3D objects. We need to get a camera in here to move around. So we can look from different places in the 3-dimensional world. So layer, new camera. Okay, and I'm just going to take all that. You can make, wide angle cameras and stuff like that. Just going to say OK to that. And up in the toolbar, you should be on. It probably says Unified Camera Tool. Let's look at the Orbit Camera Tool. Okay, so make sure your camera is still selected, and if you just orbit, you should be able to move around like this. Okay, so the pictures aren't turning, the camera's moving. Okay, our point of view, we're walking around the pictures. All right, so let's go back to the Move tool and pull these pictures apart in space a little bit. So I'm going to get on this Basel area one, and this gizmo appears. When you see that, put your cursor right on the arrowhead so you're moving in one axis at a time. It'd be easier to do. So I'm going to move that guy forward. Okay. And then I'm going to get on the back one and move it this way. All right, so they're separated now. I can also go to my camera and go to Track Z camera tool. So X, Y, and Z, right? X is back and forth, Y is up and down, and Z is in and out. So if I use this tool and drag on my viewport, I can go a little bit farther away from the pictures so I see the whole thing. Now you can look at this. You can look through this window or from multiple angles. So if I go, it says active camera down here, and I can also look at it from, say, the front, from different sides, and I can go back to camera 1 or active camera. Since I only have one camera, it's the same thing in this case. So let's look at the top viewport so we can get oriented. All right, so that's looking at our scene from the top. If you look at a sheet of paper from the side, it's a line, right? And that's what we're seeing here, 3 lines. So if I go back to my selection tool, and I can adjust how far apart they are by in the top view. Oops. Okay, and if I went to left, for example, I'm looking at them from the left point of view. I'm going to go back to my camera 1 here. And let's put a light in the scene now. So layer, new light. And Cast shadows, I think, is going to be off in yours by default. I had it on already, so let's just leave it off at the moment. And so there's a light, and it also has this 3D gizmo on it. And I'm going to move a little bit farther away so it lights up more of our scene. I want to kind of get it. And again, make sure you're moving on, you know, you're moving on the arrowhead gizmo there. I'm going to like light up the upper left corner here. All right, so if we wanted to turn on cast shadows or make various adjustments to this light, we could just open the spotlight up, right? And light options, and there you see a whole bunch of stuff like how bright it is, the intensity. You can tint the color. You can change the angle of this cone, how wide or narrow it is. You can give it a soft edge. See the softness of the edge. It's like a flashlight, you know, and that's the cone feather. But cast shadows, let's turn it on, right? And now it seems like we should be able to see the top picture casting a shadow on the next one and so forth, but we're not seeing it, all right? So I have to figure out why. And it's because we need to go into the material options. All right, when these become 3D objects, they get material options available. And cast shadows is set to off. So I'm going to click on it, it will become on. And there is shadows being casted just by the top one. It appears to be hitting both pieces, both objects. So so I'm going to go to the next one down, material options, cast shadows, turn it to on. Except shadows and lights should already be on, okay? If those are off, that will be a problem, but by default, I think those should be on. And finally, the last one, material options, cast shadows. The last one's not casting a shadow on anything, but that's okay, I turned it on anyway, if there was something else behind it. All right, so I'm just going to move these guys a little bit so I can see the shadow on each one. See, that guy's casting the shadow there, and this guy, maybe if I make it a little closer. See, so they're casting, each one's casting a shadow on the one behind it. Let's see, what should we do next here? Oh, also, see, certain things, I should have reset everything to default on mine, but some things may be different. I think your shadows are probably black, which usually you don't want that. It's kind of a natural looking, right? So let's go with the camera selected, with the spotlight selected. Let's go to layer, light settings, and the shadow darkness should be 100%. I mean, I think it's 100% on yours, so turn it down to like 65 or something like that. So it's clearly a shadow, but we can still see details in it. And the diffusion is how soft this edge of the shadow is, and I have it at 50, okay? And that looks pretty good. If I put the diffusion to 0, see, now I have a rather hard edge shadow. Light settings, I'm just going to put it back to 50. I think that was pretty good. Kind of a soft shadow. Yeah, so that's working. Let's see, is there any other settings we want to adjust here? There's a lot of stuff you can do to make, you know, change how illuminated objects look in their material options, but I think we'll keep it simple at the moment. Let's put some text on here and see if we can include that. So take the type tool and just click on your scene and type, I don't know, a word, use a nice bold font. All right. If you should be able to find your character palette around. If you don't see it, it's under Window, Character, right? And I'm going to increase the size of that type somewhat. All right, so you can see here's a 2D object in the 3D world, right? It's not doing much, but so we'll just click on the little 3D thing, and there it is. Okay, it's looks like it's at our original zero on the z-axis, right? So I just have to move it out front this way. It may take a little getting used to figure out 3 dimensions in this way, but let's look at this from the top viewport. See how far. All right, so the letters aren't too far in front of this picture, right? So go back to my camera. And let's make this guy cast shadows. So we open up 3D, the text layer, material options, and cast shadows, set it to on, and that's working pretty good. All right, so we're in the 3D world here. I'm going to turn my light up a little brighter, I think. So I'm going to select my light. You can also have like a point light that just radiates light in all directions. This is a spotlight that just points in one way. Whoops. Move it away a little bit more. And then I'm going to go to layer, light settings. And can we get to the same things down here, light options? Yeah, so I'm going to make it say 200% really bright. So see how that looks. A little over illuminated. How about 120 or something? Just wanted it to brighten up a little bit. All right, so that's an introduction to 3D. We'll go on and do some more with that afterwards.